Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome once again to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, in this session today we are going to talk on environment, or you would say we are going to talk on environmental geography. Dear friends, for this session we have chosen a very interesting topic. The topic is world forest resources, sustainability and its importance, and for this we have again with us in our studios Dr. B.W. Pandey. Dr. Pandey is Associate Professor in Department of Geography at Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. As well as I would like to tell you all that he is a member of World Mountain Research Initiative, and very soon he is going to visit one of the foreign countries from where he is going to bring lots of information for us, so that it becomes easier for you to understand different topics under different areas. So first of all, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. B.W. Pandey. Dr. Pandey, welcome to the lecture, as we have conducted numerous lectures on for example water, mountains, and today we are going to talk on forests. So if you talk about the forest resources, what basically the forest resources are?
Good. Thank you, Gitika. Forest resources, sustainability and importance, this topic today, and I will discuss very comprehensively about the forest at the global scale and how forest resources are providing sustainable livelihood, sustainable food security, sustainable livelihood security at different level. So, what is a forest? So, any kind of vegetation characterized with timber species known as forest. So, forests are the abode of different kinds of flora and fauna, and this is most important resource for carbon sink. You know, world passing through a very severe problem of emission of greenhouse gases and global warming. The forest resources are most important terrestrial biological resources for carbon sink. Apart from the carbon sink, forests also monitor, control, regulate the climatic conditions. Very, very important source for regulating climatic conditions. And apart from the climatic conditions, forests are ultimate source of the livelihood of the human. Apart from its biological importance, forest resources are also very, very important for the conservation and management of the wildlife, food security, and most important thing is the forests are the source of biological diversity. Biological diversity are the asset for global sustainability. Friends, in this context, first of all, I'd like to discuss about the global forest. So, forest actually depends on climatic conditions. A particular climate, a particular forest, and then similarly, in accordance to the forest, the number of other species of flora and fauna which coexist with the forest survive. So, forest according to the climatic area, forest exists in a particular climatic conditions along with its other living organisms, so altogether known as biomes. In other words, biome means the group of flora and fauna living in a particular climatic conditions known as biomes. So, forest also represents biomes. Friends, if you see the global forest, so I would like to mention in the late 1870s, a French plant physiologist, A.D. Candolle, was the first botanist who had divided world into various vegetation zones. Those I would like to show on the screen. See, vegetation zones, according to A.D. Candolle, he had divided vegetation on the basis of latitudes. So, lower latitude, higher temperature. So, he mentioned as megathermal. Megathermal vegetation, megathermal forest found between equator up to 10 degree north and 10 degree south latitudes in both the hemisphere. Though it varies, on continents it is restricted to 5 latitudes, but when we go to the islands in the ocean, it extends up to 20 degree latitude. So, in overall, on an average, megathermals are found 10 degree north to 10 degree south latitude in both the hemisphere. Say for example, megathermals today, they are found in the Amazon basin, in the Congo basin, on the archipelagos of Indonesia, south of Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Melanesian Islands. Megathermal. Then xerophytes. Xerophytes are found in the western margin of continents between 20 to 30 latitudes in both the hemisphere. 20 to 30 latitudes along the western margins of the continents. Then mesothermal. Mesothermal found on the mid latitude extending between 10 degree to 40 degree latitude. Mesothermal. And then microthermal. Microthermal found between 40 to 60 latitudes. And microthermal 40 to 60 latitudes, microthermal called boreal forest. Boreal forest means the forest which is found only in the northern hemisphere. Friends, I would like to tell you here that between 40 to 60 latitudes in southern hemisphere, there is only water body. There is no land. Therefore, macrothermal are not found in southern hemisphere. It is found only in the northern hemisphere. Therefore, they are known as boreal forest. Then, between 60 to 70 latitudes, they are found hecistophytes. Hecistophytes, also known as cryophytes. Cryophytes means cold vegetation, and this vegetation popularly known as tundra, propounded by the climatologist Köppen. Köppen had mentioned the hecistophytes as tundra vegetation. Friends, these are the global distribution of forest, including hecistophytes vegetation according to the latitudes. This will provide you better understanding about the global distribution of the forest. And then I would like to mention the distribution of the different latitudes have different climatic conditions. Different latitudes have different climatic conditions. So, there are different kinds of forest. So, different climatic conditions, different kinds of forest, and how these forests provide local sustainability, how it provides regional sustainability, as well as global sustainability. So, I will take one by one as a local sustainability, regional sustainability, and the global sustainability. So there are different climatic conditions and have different kinds of forest and different kinds of sustainability. So let's say first equatorial forest. Equatorial forests found between 10 degree north to 10 degree south latitudes in both the hemisphere, and in the equatorial forest it is also called rainforest, megathermal forest. This is a kind of forest where trees are very, very dense, tall, and having mega biodiversity. Friends, this is the most hot spot, means most mega biodiversity forest in the world, including Amazonian forest. Amazonian forest, the Amazon basin in South America, which lies in Brazil mainly. This forest is so large, so dense, it is untamed, called untamed Amazonia, where the diversity, there are 5 layers of the flora and similarly 5 layers of fauna. That makes very, very high mega biodiversity. Equatorial forest. Other equatorial forests found in Africa continent, Central Africa, where extending between the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea coast, Congo basin, also called Zaire basin. Then equatorial forest found in Asian continents like Sri Lanka, like in Indonesian archipelago, Melanesian archipelago, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and a little part of the Western Ghats, Malabar of India. Equatorial forest, blessed with the 5 layers of flora and fauna, with mega biodiversity. There are different kinds of reptiles and insects at the ground level because of shrubs. Then intermediate trees, climbers, high canopy tree, and the tall trees. It makes 5 layers of the flora and simultaneously takes 5 layers of the fauna, like insects at the ground, reptiles, then different kinds of herbivorous, carnivorous on the ground. Then you find a number of climbers, then people living on the tree, because insects are very dangerous in the equatorial forest. Mosquitoes are very poisonous. People cannot sleep on the ground, and if the people sleep on the ground, they are not able to wake up in the morning, they die. So it is called sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness found in the equatorial forest. So people live on the trees to save their life. Beyond human, there are layers of the monkeys and then birds. So 5 layers of the flora, 5 layers of the fauna. It makes equatorial forest very, very biodiversity forest. Regarding sustainability, we talk about sustainability. So global sustainability. In terms of global sustainability, I would like to mention that these forests in Amazonian basin, Congo basin largely, and particularly of the Amazonian basin, the equatorial forest, megathermal forest known as lungs of the earth, abode of the oxygen, provide oxygen to the world population, largest biological source of the carbon sink, abode of the biodiversity. So global sustainability, global climate maintenance, global climate regulations, all are concerned with these forests. So these are very, very important at the global sustainability. Regarding regional sustainability, I would like to mention equatorial forests provide different kinds of economic resources. Economic resources based on flora and fauna. Economic resources such as timber. Timber, a major forest product from equatorial forest. I would like to mention if you see the map of South America, in Brazil, from Manaus to Macapa. Manaus in the interior of the forest at the confluence of the river Negro and Amazon. So that is also inland port, and I'd like to mention it is the most interior river port in the world. Most interior river port in the world, Manaus, approximately 3,700 kilometers inside the forest, inside the river Amazon. From here, in the Amazon basin, equatorial forest on the regional space are very, very important for collection of rubber. And friends, you know the Brazil is the largest producer of natural rubber in the world, and that natural rubber is not planted, rather it is collected from the equatorial forest directly. 4 species of the wild rubber, Hevia, Valeta, Crestulova, Hevia, Valeta, Crestulova, these 3 dominant, most important varieties of rubber species which are largely grown in equatorial forest, Amazon forest in Brazil. And that wild rubber collected at Manaus, from where it is transported through the Amazon river basin system, and then it's provided to different kinds of manufacturing products. So, rubber from forest, timber from the forest, and other different kinds of vaccine, other kinds of forest product, leaves, animals, these provide regional livelihood security, regional sustainability in Amazonian forest. Coming to the local sustainability, talking about local sustainability, local people, those who are living in the forest, they are tribes, tribal people like Boro, like Guaycas, Boro tribe, Guaycas tribe, these tribes living in the Amazonian forest, and Amazonian forest provide them shelter, food, and these people also practice hunting and food gathering along with shifting cultivation. The shifting cultivation in Amazonian forest by Boro, by Guaycas is very dominant, and it is locally known as roca. Roca is a shifting cultivation slash and burn cultivation in Amazonian forest. Now, coming to the Africa continent, the equatorial forest largely found in the Congo basin, Zaire basin. As I told you, it is extended along the river Zaire, both sides of river Zaire, in Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Cameroon, Niger, Togo, Benin, Nigeria. These countries have equatorial forest. And see again, global sustainability, forests are abode of the source of carbon sink. At global scale, regulate climatic conditions. Regional scale, the forest of the Zaire Basin are ultimate source of the forest product of the populated areas of the basins of Congo. It provides different kinds of livelihood security, livelihood options with the forest product. Kinshasa, Brazzaville, they are the major centers of the wood production, wood related industries that sustain entire Central Africa, so provide sustainability at the regional scale. Coming to the local scale, that's very interesting. Local scale, these people of the Central Africa, these people of the Congo Basin, they are Negritos, Negrats. They are black color and the tiny people, the most tiny people on the earth, pygmies found in the equatorial forest of Central Africa. And altogether, they are known as Pygmites. The Pygmites are different names having different clans in Central African countries. They are known as Pygmy, they are known as Hutu, also some group of the tribal population known as Twa, Batwa, Babinga, Tutsi. These local people survive either by hunting, fishing, food gathering, and they also practice shifting cultivation. The shifting cultivation is very common in Central African forest, which provide local sustainability. Shifting cultivation locally in Zaire Basin known as Masole. Masole, while along the Guinea coast, it is known as Khurpa, also known as Ho. Khurpa and Ho along the Guinea coast in Nigeria, Togo, Benin, and in Zaire and Congo, it is known as Masole. So these people survive, live by the shifting cultivation, by hunting, food gathering, fishing at the local scale, so it provides local sustainability. Similarly, other forest regions in the world like Sri Lankan forest, like the West Coast forest of India, Indonesian forest, Malaysian forest, Melanesian forest are also very, very important at global scale from environmental point of view, climatic point of view, also have regional economics, regional society based on these forests, and there are patches of the local people which I'd like to mention. The local people which are found along the west coast of India, Nilgiri mountain, they are Kadar, Pulian, Irula, Vinas. These are the local tribes survive on this forest. Similarly, the number of forest Ongi people in Andaman Nicobar Island, Ongi, Jarwa, Sentinelese, number of tribal community live on Andaman Nicobar forest area. Similarly, the local people in Malaysia, they are known as Sakai and Semang. Sakai and Semang community, local community of the equatorial forest, survive on the Malaya Peninsula. Similarly, Indonesian archipelago. So, Ladang is the name of shifting cultivation in Malaysia, and Jumma and Humma in Indonesia. These Ladang, Jumma, Humma of Malaysia, Indonesia provide local sustainability. And these people who are practice shifting cultivation, they are the people who have not affected by demographic transition. They don't have technology, they don't have other livelihood option. Therefore, they depend on the forest, they live in the forest, their livelihood security based on the forest. Therefore, this is the best example of local sustainability. Similar example you can take from the Philippines, where local people are practicing shifting cultivation, where it's called kaingin. Kaingin is the name of shifting cultivation in Philippines. I know Philippines, island countries, very lush and green, had regional economy based on the forest, local sustainability as well as global sustainability. Similarly, people living over the Melanesian islands, they are headhunters. Headhunters people survive through the forest resources of Melanesian islands. So friends, global sustainability, regional sustainability, local sustainability based on these equatorial forests with certain example. Then after equatorial, coming to the monsoon forest. Monsoon forest largely found along the east coast of the continents between 10 degree to 20 degree latitude, and somewhere it is part of the 30 degree latitude. So 10 degree to 30 degree latitude along the east coast of continents like Asia, countries like the eastern countries, Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, eastern part of India, Bangladesh, Thailand. These countries, eastern part, have been typical monsoon. It's called monsoon Asia. Monsoon Asia. Then you find eastern coast of the Africa continent, right in the Kenya, coming to the south, Kenya to the coast of the South Africa, they are the monsoon climate. Florida, eastern coast of the North America continent, southeastern coast, Florida region, the Central America, and the eastern coast of Brazil, where have monsoon climate. Also find east coast of Australia, that is monsoon vegetation, monsoon forest. Friends, monsoon forest characterized with seasonal cycle of temperature and rainfall. Here, because we are talking sustainability, so I'd like to mention here at this point, monsoon forests provide most sustainable living condition to mankind. Since the history of mankind, monsoon forests provided source of livelihood, and after the development of human history with the technology, discovery of wheel, then development of agriculture, animal husbandry, cropping, the monsoon forest become a house of the humans, house of the mankind. Friends, why I am emphasizing on the monsoon, you can understand later on while the discussion, you can find that almost 50% of the world population live in the monsoon climate only. There are more than 15 types of climate in the world, but more than 50% of the human population live in monsoon climate. Monsoon forest today largely damaged. There is a massive land use, land cover change in the monsoon forest. Monsoon forest largely affected by clearance of the forest, deforestation, and a series of the land use land cover change. So, in the beginning of the human history of civilization, development of early agriculture, human cleared the forest to develop agricultural land. So, forests were destroyed, converted to agricultural land, and agricultural land in the monsoon region, because as I told you, monsoon forest, monsoon climate have a seasonal cycle of temperature, seasonal cycle of rainfall, which provide different growing season ranging between 100 to 120 days. 100 to 120 days, the cycle keep on moving with the time duration, which provide different seasonal cropping pattern. And I am sure you must have heard about Kharif season, Rabi season, Zayad season. So, Rabi, Kharif and Zayad, these are different agricultural season and what we say agroclimatic season. So, agro-agricultural season. So, when crops depends on particular climate with particular temperature and rainfall. So, it provided 3 crops in a year. It is not found anywhere else in the world, any other forest, any other climate in any part of the world. So, 3 seasons of the crop growing provided more livelihood security, more sustainability. Therefore, right from the history of the human civilization till date, monsoon forest, monsoon climate region have largest concentration of the world population. So, it is 50% of the world population live in this forest, in this climatic region. Therefore, because of large size of human population, monsoon forests are largely modified, damaged, changed. With the cycle of change, when people have realized that without forest, sustainable livelihood is not possible. Without forest, there is no intergenerational equity. Without forest, there is no intragenerational equity. Therefore, we need forest. Taking this, now the human population again had taken a U-turn. Again there is large scale afforestation in the monsoon forest, which is popularly known as social forestry, agroforestry at community level, panchayat level, regional level, state level, lot of planning regarding the forestry, afforestation. So, monsoon forest. After changing from agricultural land, forest land to agricultural land, last land use land cover change, which is now you can find that there is again land transformation, land use change from agricultural land to industrial land, agricultural land to urban land. So, urbanization due to industrialization. So, there is a series of land use land cover change in the monsoon forest. Students, I would like to mention you, dear friends, I would like to mention you that this climatic condition, this forest, monsoon forest, also a major contributor to the global warming, because there are cumulative effect. Once, due to shifting cultivation, due to burning of the biomass, there is a large scale carbon emission, where the people are poor, tribal people, practicing shifting cultivation, burning the forest. So direct emission of carbon in the air by the local people. Secondly, industrial revolution in the monsoon. Industrial revolution in the monsoon, which also caused the responsible factor for emission of greenhouse gases causing global warming. So more population, more carbon in the monsoon forest. Then forest resource coming to the savanna. Friends, savanna, a kind of climatic conditions, kind of bio condition found in the interior of the continents. Interior of the continents between 10 degree north to 35 degree north latitude. 10 degree to 35 degree north latitude. Similarly, 10 degree to 35 degree south latitude. Savanna having large scale regional disparity because it extended towards equator and towards mid latitude, towards monsoon one side, so desert on the other side. Therefore, there is a large scale biodiversity, and there are series of the flora and fauna. They adjust according to the climatic condition. So from desert to monsoon, if you look over throughout the savanna region, you will find a natural grazing succession. Natural grazing succession, where to a desert region there are plants are tiny. So if flora is tiny, fauna is also tiny. There are rabbits, mouse. Coming little towards monsoon area, there is a more larger plants, so bigger species like deer. Further towards east, coming monsoon forest area, you find further taller plants. There are kind of the herbivorous which are little taller like bisons. Coming to the east further towards equator monsoon, there are tall trees where you find giraffe, elephants. So there is a natural grazing succession. The height of flora and fauna gradually increases from west to east, from desert to the monsoon, from desert to the equator because of changing nature of temperature and rainfall. Therefore, savanna have different names, different vegetation, different flora fauna. The savanna found largely in Africa continent, then it is found in Brazil, South America continent, then it is found in Australia. Savanna, you must have heard Sahel of the Africa. Then it is found in South America, where savanna have different names: Mato Grosso, Campos, Cerrados, Caatinga and Gran Chaco. These are different regional names of the savanna in South America. While in Australia have also comprehensive area under savanna. Central part of the Indian peninsula have savanna. Friends, at global sustainability, savanna provides a large scale, large number of animals of the herbivorous and carnivorous. Savanna, also known as land of big game hunting. You can see on the Discovery Channel a number of carnivorous approaching to the herbivorous. Hunting is called land of hunting, land of big game hunting, savanna. And At the local scale, you can find the savanna also provide important natural resources, which make the natural economy sustainable. After savanna, we'll move to the Mediterranean. Mediterranean forest found along the west coast of the continents. West coast of the continent between 30 to 40 latitudes. Friends, I'd like to mention here, it is a typical kind of climate, Mediterranean, where summers are dry, a rainfall occur only during winter season. Therefore, flora and fauna also have acclimatization, have adjusted according to the climatic condition. So, large scale adaptation, acclimatization of the flora and fauna found in the Mediterranean forest. Mediterranean forest largely found along the coast of Mediterranean Sea, therefore, it is called Mediterranean forest. But it is found in other continents between 30 to 40 latitudes in both the hemisphere along the west coast, like 30 to 40 latitude on the west coast is the California state of the United States of America, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, and in South America, Chile, Santiago. In Africa continent, Mediterranean forest found on the northern tip in Morocco and southern tip in Cape Town region. And western coast of the Asia continent like West Bank, Israel, Lebanon have Mediterranean climate. And in Australia, Perth region and Adelaide region have Mediterranean forest. Friends, Mediterranean forest, as I told you, having winter rain, summer dry, so there are, due to lack of moisture in summer season, vegetation having thick leathery leaves, thick bark and dwarf in nature. And due to summer dry, due to acclimatization, they have adopted the mostly the forest products are fruits which are citrus fruits, grapes, orange, lemon, the major product. Mediterranean forest having such a unique climatic condition that summer is not hot, summer is warm. Winter is not cold, winter is cool. Therefore, it's very good climatic condition, and I'd like to mention here, in Mediterranean forest, there is large scale human interferences, land use land cover changes, forests have changed to commercial agriculture, where it is large scale producer of wine in the world. So, different kinds of production of wine, which is also called viticulture. So, production of grapes and manufacturing wine known as viticulture. So, different kinds of grapes, different kinds of wine produced in the Mediterranean forest. Friends, at global scale, Mediterranean forest provide different kinds of beverages as a global sustainability. Regional sustainability, different kinds of forest products provide regional economy, like olive oil exported throughout the globe, but coming from Mediterranean region. So, it provides Mediterranean regional sustainability. And again, local sustainability. Local sustainability, friends, I'd like to mention that Mediterranean forest greatly modified and having maximum percentage of urbanization. More than 90% people living in this climate, in this forest, they are urban. They are not forest, they are urban people. So massive urbanization. So cities like Perth, Adelaide, Cape Town, the Morocco, Casablanca, the Santiago, San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles, cities like Rome, Venice, all the major cities lying in the Mediterranean climatic region. So it is most urbanized. Having global sustainability, regional sustainability and the local sustainability. Then I would like to take you the forest region of the taiga forest. Taiga forest, as I told you in the beginning of the lecture, taiga forest also called boreal forest, which is found mainly in the northern hemisphere, latitude between 40 to 60 latitude. Taiga forests are two types. Taiga forest found along the west coast, western margin, are evergreen, called evergreen taiga. And taiga forests are the interior of the continents, known as taiga deciduous, because these forests shed their leaves. Taiga evergreen along the west coast of the continents. So taiga are evergreen because between 50 to 60 latitudes, 40 to 60 latitudes, west coast of the continents are affected by strong westerlies surface winds. Westerlies surface winds passing over Atlantic Ocean, passing over Pacific Ocean, they hit the west coast of Europe, west coast of North America. Therefore, it provides heavy rainfall. So due to rainfall throughout the year, all the 12 months have rainfall. Therefore, western coast of the North America continent, western coast of the Europe continent have evergreen forest, taiga evergreen. And in the interior, where rainfall decreases, less rainfall, the taiga is deciduous. So taiga evergreen, taiga deciduous together provide most important source of the economic, high value, high priced timber species. Friends, here I would like to mention how taiga forest provide global sustainability. Global sustainability on taiga forest. Because timber, taiga found in the cold climate, it is called macrophytes. Macrophytes, cold climate. Therefore, trees are at the shape, conical shape, called conical forest. And because of cold climate, the wood, the timber is very soft. So it's very high economic value, very high economic value. These forests found largely in Canada, in US, it is found in the European countries, right from Norway, Sweden, Finland, Western Russia, also found in Germany, Poland, Baltic states, and also taiga forest found over the mountainous areas like Himalaya, Andes, Rockies, where this taiga forest called alpine taiga. So we have largely divided the latitudinal and altitudinal. Latitudinal taiga known as Arctic taiga, altitudinal taiga known as alpine taiga. So largely alpine taiga over the alpine mountains like Himalayas, Andes and Rocky Mountains, Alps mountains. But Arctic taiga largely found in Arctic region, where it is Canada, US, then European countries. Friends, taiga, as it is a large area of the softwood timber provide base of the softwood timber resources. So find deodar, birch, pine, Douglas fir, red fir, a typical species of juniper fir found in the moist taiga, evergreen taiga, and while in the deciduous taiga, there is a most common tree, very important tree is maple. And you know, maple is the national symbol of the Canada, because largely found in Canada, also found in the Europe continents. Friends, taiga is the largest producer of paper and pulp in the world. Canada is the largest producer of newsprint in the world. And because of more than thousands of the lakes provide interior navigation, very cheaper inland transportation of the logs for paper industry, Canada had developed the taiga forest as a harvesting forest. So they clear the forest and again plant the forest. There is a cycle of planting and harvesting. It's like a farming in Canada. Therefore, the density of the forest in Canada, density is increasing apart from large scale lumbering. So, commercial felling of trees and followed by afforestation in Canada, transported by water, known as lumbering. Canada is a country of lumbers. Friends, lumbering provide newspaper, newsprint and other kind of forest product at the global scale. So it is global sustainability. Also carbon sink, global sustainability. It provides American, European economy. It is a regional sustainability. And friends, people working in the forest, living in the forest, they are also surviving through the forest resources. So it provides local sustainability. So friends, forests are not only abode of flora and fauna, rather even in 21st century or in the coming future, forests will be an important asset for human development, human civilization at all the three levels, local level to regional level and finally at the global level. Friends, this discussion will continue in another lecture. If you have any questions, any query, you are most welcome.
Definitely, dear friends, if you have any questions, you can mail us at info.cec@nic.in so that the next time when Dr. Pandey comes, we love to solve your queries. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for giving us such a productive session. And dear friends, if you want to access this particular lecture, you can access it with the help of the YouTube. As we daily say that we upload these lectures only for you so that it becomes easier for you to watch these lectures ample of time and to get maximum out of these lectures. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you.